Jesus begins by saying, you have heard that it was said. So this is what he's about to quote is common knowledge. You've heard that it was said. It was said in the first giving of the law in Exodus 20, verse 14, and in the second giving of the law, Deuteronomy 5, verse 18, you have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. Everyone knows this. It's the seventh commandment. You shall not commit adultery. Now, he begins by, Moses began, and now Jesus quoting him, you. Who is the you? Well, directly here, this is addressed to men because he says that if everyone who, in verse 28, everyone who looks at a woman with lust for her has already committed adultery. So most specifically, this is addressed to men, though it does have secondary application to women as well. And when he says men here, it's men regardless of age. Teenage men, young men, single men, married men, unmarried men, middle-aged men, senior adult men, old men, divorced men. If you're a man, this is addressed to you, every man in this room today. He says, you shall not commit adultery. Now, adultery, this word for adultery here means any sexual desire or act outside of marriage. And so it prohibits extramarital affairs. It prohibits premarital affairs. It prohibits after marriage affairs. It prohibits immorality, homosexuality, lesbianism, bestiality, anything outside of marriage between a man and a woman. And this was such a serious offense that in the Old Testament, under the law, it required the death penalty. Leviticus 20, verses 20 to 21, it's a major portion of the law that it required the death penalty of being stoned to death. In Deuteronomy 22, verse 22, we see it again. And in Malachi 2, verse 14, it is serious because it breaks the marriage covenant. So the reason that Jesus addresses it here is that the Pharisees and the scribes, who were the leading theological, biblical teachers, influencers over the nation Israel, they had externalized this again. And as long as you have not committed the physical act of adultery, they go, we're fine, we're good. But they totally neglected the heart. And their hearts, Jesus said, were like a grave in which there were dead men's bones inside that grave. So Jesus will have much to say about this.